I ran one of the most toxic teams in Great League since its inception. And as someone who's never really run this team, I kind of understand why people like running this line. These were some of the fastest battles. All right, let's just jump into this first set. I included a few sets running this team. Yeah, this team is notorious. I mean, already starting the video, I barely even got my thoughts or words out, and the first match is already over. So a lot of that happens while I was running this team. It's actually insane. I mean, look at this second battle. We have an Altaria lead with a Feraligatr switching. So I'm running Bastiodon, Shadow, Victreebel, which is a notorious duo in the Great League, and I'm also running Wigglytuff, which does seem to be pretty dang good this season as well. So already, I mean, for the most part, you can run this team in however order you prefer. There's definitely things this team is going to struggle with in the meta for sure. But yeah, I decided to run Bastiodon lead and ideally Victreebel as my safe swap depending on the scenario. There will be some scenarios where I want to switch to Wigglytuff as my safe swap. But yeah, this team, I don't know. Like, I'm a very big advocate of running Spice and Go Battle League and deviating from meta as much as I can. But I don't know what came over me to want to run this line. But I don't think I've ever ran this line. I don't think I've ever once run this line seriously or at all. I don't even think I have. And yeah, it's kind of insane how oppressive this team is. Like, that guy just straight up quit. Oh, of course. This next match, though, this guy, I know this guy actually. He's going to put me in my place. Shadow alone Sandslash is probably the one of the worst Pokemon that we could face off with this team. I mean, we could take one drill run to the face, but it's still not going to be a good scenario for us. And honestly, I decided to switch in because, interesting enough, Razor Leaf does do a decent amount of damage here, but my opponent, he ends up having Charmery. So yeah, this is pretty much like game at this point. There's really nothing I'm going to be able to do to overcome the battle. I mean, I could bring in Bastiodon, but it doesn't really matter. And yeah, I'll play it out still because, you know, that's just how we roll. But yeah, shout out to this guy. He's a homie. I haven't seen this guy in years, but he's a local SoCal battler, and he always finds a way to lobby against me in the Go Battle League and put me in my place a little bit. But yeah, this was pretty much... This set was so fast. I was cracking up when I was playing this. I was like, wow, I feel kind of bad. Like, there's a part of me that feels shameful playing this team. But yeah, that was a 4-1 set to start. And yeah, I mean, obviously, like I said, there's going to be certain Pokemon that this team is going to struggle with. Registeel can be one of them too. But, you know, it's not impossible. There's ways to kind of play through certain bad alignment and such. But in this battle, we get a Gligar lead, which isn't the worst. I mean, we could actually take a dig to the face, and we still are kind of threatening the Gligar for shields and damage. So I decided to take one dig, and at this point, I'm thinking I think I commit my shield and I go for the flamethrower to get the shield. I don't remember if they shield or not. I think they might take it, and then I can farm it. And then I have alignment, but I'm going to actually, instead of switching a Victreebel here, because I don't have switch, I want to use Victreebel to take down Feraligatr. I don't want to actually switch into Victreebel here. I didn't want Feraligatr to get farmed down on Bastiodon, so I switch in Wigglytuff to scare it out. And sure enough, that's kind of what happens here. We get the Vigoroth switch in, and this puts us in a pretty good scenario where I can actually bring in Victreebel now and farm down Vigoroth. I can actually take a Body Slam to the face if I really need to, which I'm going to have to. And then from there, this should be game into the Feraligatr, because it can't really... I mean, even if they threw the move, Actually, I think I needed to catch that to win. Because I don't know if SmackDown would have been able to knock it out in time. So yeah, catching that move on Bastiodon was kind of huge. Alright, so we get an Annihilate. Pretty bad lead for us, but usually with like a fighter lead, I'll just safe swap into Victreebel because both our backline, they can deal with a fighter. It's not ideal to use Victreebel, but it's still a pretty good option. So we're using Victreebel primarily here to switch out the fighter and bait in something that Bastiodon can deal with that our backline might not be able to. As you can see, they have Bastiodon themselves, so that's good for our Wigglytuff. So I'm going to actually bring in my Bastiodon, and from here, I'm just going to go straight for the farm down. I'm pretty sure that's my play. I don't really mind taking all the flamethrower damage. That's quite okay. Just kind of like what we're going to have to deal with here. And yeah, we can just go for the farm down from there. I'm going to take one more. No, never mind. Excuse me. I'm going to throw the flamethrower immediately into Annihilate here. And they do commit the shield, which is amazing because we do have Wiggly in the back. And from here, it's actually looking pretty solid because even if they remove Wiggly, we have a shield and we can save it for Bastiodon to remove Annihilate in the end. So I'm not going to go for... I'm going to go for the Disarming Voice because damage is the most important aspect in this battle. And either I'm going to farm it straight down, which is the case. They didn't want to let my Bastiodon get any farm down, which makes sense. I am able to connect a flamethrower, and Annihilate will just barely live, and one smackdown should be enough to finish up the battle here. So, GG's. Alright, so let's see, we get into our next battle here. Shadow Dragonair lead. This is actually pretty scary. I was kind of impressed by Aquatel, or is it Aquajet? I can't remember. Aquatel, yeah. Aquatel is really powerful on the Shadow Dragonair now. With it definitely feels like it's possible, if I don't shield, that this Dragonair could flip this matchup. But yeah, I decided I'm going to commit the shield, of course. I don't want to let it harm me. But then I was like, you know what? Was this the best call? I'm thinking maybe it's better to have alignment in this scenario. I decide they bring Hakamo-O, and you know, honestly, I was thinking about this after the fact. It may have actually been a good idea just to let the Hakamo-O farm down Bastiodon, but I do bring in my Victreebel as a safe swap, hoping to force it out. That doesn't seem to be the case, and they end up having Charjabug here in the backline. So this is a little scary because they are able to do some significant damage here. I'm going to go for the Icy Wind into Charjabug just to essentially get the shield, weaken it. We do get the Stone Edge off immediately into Charjabug, which allows us to remove it, and we are able to just barely get to the low HP here. We almost got to the move, but we're going to waste their energy, and thankfully Wigglytuff can resist this brick break and just barely live for the farm down. So pretty close. It ended up working in the end, but sometimes it's a little dicey on like what to do, and I'm just trying to react in the moment. So we get a Mantine lead. They switch in Poliwrath. I instantly bring in Victreebel. These battles where it's a flyer into a water safe swap, just, oh my gosh, I always feel so bad for them. But yeah, in comes the Mantine now, and I guess I could have just gone for a Leaf Blade. It might have been a better decision here because they weren't going to shield anyways. But at the same time, it's pretty oppressive to take that Razor Leaf damage plus the Acid Spray. A lot of times, I don't wait out the timer with this team. If I get the Acid Spray off and I die, I instantly try to bring in Bastiodon so I can farm as much smackdown damage with the defense drop as possible on my target. So yeah, a lot of times I play this a little more aggressive than I typically would play. I don't really wait out the clock as much, especially if it's in our favor not to do so. So another battle, GG. Alright, so we get the Lickitung lead. Honestly, not that bad of a scenario for us. We can kind of tank most of the damage from the Lickitung, and in comes the Lantern. So yeah, we're pretty much just gonna have to do what we normally do. We switch in the Victreebel, destroy the water, switch in comes back in the Lickitung. I'm gonna go for Acid Spray, which is significant. And as you see, I don't wait out the timer. I bring in Bastiodon right away here. That way I can rack up as much smackdown damage as I possibly can. I'm pretty much just going for the farm down, preserving my energy for the backline. I thought that would be the optimal play here. And yeah, pretty much I go for the flamethrower into Gallade, and yeah, it's pretty much going to be GG at this point. I'm a little nervous to take a close combat because of the fact that Shadow, but they do end up baiting me with the Leaf Blade, and I'm just not even going to risk it. There's really no point to risk it at this point. I'm not trying to flex any shields or anything like that. So yeah, at this point, they wait out the timer, but yeah, it's game. I can just farm down Lickitung, so GG's there. All right, that was a 5-0 set. So let's get into this next set. This set I wanted to include because there's actually a really interesting match in it. So this is just, I felt like, when I saw this, I was like, well, that's amazing because I have Wigglytuff for Altaria. I don't really need to preserve it, my Bastiodon necessarily here. This is actually my best matchup for Skarmory as well. So yeah, without them knowing, they ended up kind of helping me out a bit here with this switch in. So yeah, we're gonna just continue on doing our thing, farming down the Skarm. And yeah, Flamethrower, yeah, I mean, pretty much we get both shields. I don't really commit much myself. I didn't feel the need to. I knew I could take a Brave Bird here and farm, and I'm gonna commit one shield just so I at least preserve alignment. And yeah, at that point, that's looking really shabby. So in comes Lantern. I'm going to throw that Stone Edge, and then instantly, once I die, I bring in Victreebel. They switch in Altaria. I'm going to bring in Wigglytuff, and it's pretty much just game over at that point. GG. All right. So, another Skarmory lead. Wow. Another Skarmory lead, and they switch in Gligar. And I figured there's really no need to instantly switch out. I want to trade shield and bring in Wigglytuff on this matchup. That's my plan. So we do trade the shield. I bring in Wiggly. I think I commit the shield thinking I want to at least survive a dig or at least preserve as much health as I can. They end up baiting me, which is a good call. They do throw the dig. It doesn't really matter because I am going to win switch, and I can go for Icy Wind into Skarmory, which doesn't matter also, but it's really just about maintaining that alignment. They end up bringing in Wishcash, which is amazing for me because I have Victreebel, and I just kind of melt it at this point. And switch back in Bastiodon on the Skarmory, and that's pretty much game. I'm surprised they even stayed in. There's really nothing Skarmory can do here, even with that shield. So I think once they lost their shield, they realized, yeah, there's nothing I can do here. So GG's. And oh, this is the match I wanted to share. So sure enough, we're in a mirror, and yeah, this is a little bit stally just because of this matchup with Bastiodon. It's pretty much when I play the mirror, I usually like to shield at least once to put myself ahead. And this person isn't going to shield at all. So, gosh, this is such a long stall. No one really wants to be watching Bastiodon fight itself. But ideally, I just want to at least preserve one shield here. But as you'll see, this ends up being interesting because my opponent takes advantage over the fact that I commit this one shield and I leave my Bastiodon with a little bit of health. This may have even been better to not shield and just kind of play out the match and see who wins CMP. I mean, I couldn't have known until this match played out what was waiting around the corner for me. I had a suspicion that this could have potentially been a similar team as mine, but again, I was just kind of playing it. And they bring in Victreebel and they get the farm down, which is already looking kind of bad. I bring in my own Victreebel, and the fact that this is a regular Victreebel versus my Shadow will actually play some significance here in the match. And even here, a little bit of a misplay, I would say, in the end, because I could have just used Leaf Blade, potentially baited a little, but it doesn't necessarily matter, I suppose, too. This, though, is definitely going to be a GG, because with that Icy Wind connect, I can't farm down without being farmed down. So, yeah, ultimately, I end up losing this match just by a hair because of that slight advantage of the regular Victreebel. So pretty crazy. GG's. Another degenerate out there. So we get the Empoleon here. Honestly, not like horrible, but not the best either. I mean, if it was Waterfall, I'd be a little more nervous here. I decided to stay in, and thankfully I'm able to catch a move. I decided I'm not even going to shield on Victreebel because more than likely they're just going to bring in a counter. And interesting enough, they insta-swap. And I don't shield, so I'm actually able to bring in my Bastiodon on Cresselia, which is huge here. And remember, Empoleon's already weakened a significant amount. So that's super clutch. And from here, pretty much I'm just going to flip this matchup now with Cresselia and Bastiodon. It's a little stally. This is definitely one of the more stally type of matchups you can get, like Cresselia versus Bastiodon. And yeah, we do end up switching in Wiggly to get that little bit of farm ahead. And yeah, it's looking like we're in a pretty decent scenario. They end up having Treb in the back, so at this point I'm already convinced we won this match because of the way we navigated through the battle. We're not particularly afraid of Trevenant. All it can really do is throw seed bombs at us. I do throw Icy Wind, and from here I can actually preserve my shield for the back line, just go straight for the farm down, which is actually amazing. And even though they have the Empoleon here in the back, it's so low that we can shield and just straight up go for the farm down. So GG's there. All right, so I think this is the final battle of this set. I get a Shadow Gligar lead. Similar idea with Gligar. I kind of just stay in. I want to try to trade shields. I can take one dig to the face. They don't seem to bait. I mean, baiting here would have been insane if I didn't shield for them, so I can see why they don't want to risk not baiting. And typically, excuse me, Gligar can outpace. So I decided, excuse me, to try to tank a move on Victreebel, and that works out really good for us because we do force out the Gligar, tank a move, and I'm going to bring in Wigglytuff in on their Trevenant. So yeah, this is looking pretty solid for me, and I'm just going to go for a farm down situation. For the most part, I'm going to try to tank the double seed bomb, which I should barely be able to do. And I'm thinking maybe Bastiodon has a pretty good backline. Unfortunately, though, that doesn't seem to be the case here. They end up having Wishcash in the back, and that's pretty much going to be a GG. There's not much I'm going to be able to do here. I'm going to try my best to do damage. I know I can take one Mud Bomb, so I'm going to let it go through. And yeah, I decided to just throw that second Stone Edge. And it doesn't really matter that I could even... You know, I was thinking potentially shielding Bastiodon here, but I don't think it would have mattered because they have a move saved on Gligar. And I mean, maybe if I would have shielded on Bastiodon, I don't think so, though. I don't really know. I don't think I could have farmed down Witchcash before got another Mud Bomb off. So yeah, GG's there. This is the final set of the video. If you're watching and you've gotten this far, please hit that like button. It does help my content out a lot here on YouTube. And we do get the Feraligatr lead, and I decided to switch in Wiggly, and they bring in Ferrothorn. I go for the Icy Wind, and I was thinking to myself, even if they have Flash Cannon, I think I'll just let it go through. And yeah, that's pretty much what happens. I'm going to bring in Bastiodon just to go for farm down, build up some energy. This is a pretty unique scenario because, you know, at first I was thinking definitely game over, but then I was thinking it really comes down to their backline. Like, because Victreebel does do really good against Feraligatr, and it really just comes down to what they might have in the back. They end up having Poliwrath. I instantly swap in Victreebel, seeing my opportunity. They go for the Icy Wind, but it's not going to matter because they bring back in Feraligatr, hoping to at least do something. And they can throw a Hydro, but I can shield that and still farm it down. I'm going to go for the Acid Spray, though. I'm pretty sure I could have just farmed here. But I knew that Poliwrath was not going to get energy, so I just wanted to make sure I secured this win. And I kind of forgot how much energy Feraligatr had. So GG's, pretty insane there. So we get a Sandslash lead. As you probably remember from the earlier battle, this is a pretty bad scenario for me. So I decided to just kind of hopefully trade at least one shield. I will commit one and also return a flamethrower to get a shield as well. And yeah, I'm just going to stay in, try to rack up as much damage as possible. But then what I decide to do, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I can bring Wigglytuff and tank an Ice Punch or two. So we end up, you know, switching in Wiggly and we force their Sandslash out. And from here, I'm just going to go for the Icy Wind to try to force this Azumarill to throw a move into Wiggly. So they can't really go for a farm down. We do actually end up taking a big chunk of Azu's health away, which is really beneficial for us. And I decided I'm just going to bring in Victreebel and try to generate a little bit of energy. And I'm going to eat the Ice Beam to the face. And from here, I'm trying to decide what can I possibly do. Honestly, it's not looking too good. If I can somehow catch an Ice Punch on Bastiodon, there could be a chance, but it really comes down to the back line. They end up having Annihilate in the back, and there isn't really going to be much we can do here. Even though we can live this Night Slash, throw the Flamethrower, we even get the shield here, the Leaf Blade that I have locked on Victreebel isn't going to be enough one-shot Annihilate. So even though we had a really bad lead, we still tried our best to overcome. We had some decent plays, but yeah, that was a really tough one. Alright, so we get Charge-a-Bug. This is an amazing lead for Bastiodon, but as you can see, they bring in Lantern. I have Victreebel. This is pretty much going to be game. I know I can take a move here. There's no point in shielding. And yeah, I'm going to go for Acid Spray directly into Charge-a-Bug when it comes back. But they actually don't bring in Charge-a-Bug. They bring in Dewgong, which I'm quite okay with. I think what they wanted to do is try to generate energy for Drill Run for Bastiodon, but I just bring in Wigglytuff into the Dewgong, and from there, pretty much tank these moves. They switch in Charge-a-Bug, I switch in Bastiodon. It's game. I mean, I think they play it out a little bit, but yeah, honestly, there's not much they're going to be able to do at this point in the battle. I'm just going to go for Flamethrower because even if they don't shield, it's quite okay. And yeah, I don't need to commit any shield in this fight at this point. It's pretty much game. Even with the Drill Run here, I don't have the shield. I have Wigglytuff to farm down. So I will let the Drill Run go through. Interesting enough though, it's not even enough to remove Bastiodon, even with the Ice Shard damage, and bam, that's a game. A lot of Skarmory leads I've noticed yesterday. I decided to switch in Victreebel in on the Surfetch. I know that it could seem like, oh, I can bring in Wigglytuff here. I mean, both of my back line are going to struggle with Skarmory, but I figured we might want to preserve Wigglytuff for the back line. More than likely, they're not going to have another Steel type. And yeah, so far, this is looking pretty decent. I go for the Acid Spray into Skarm. We are able to do a significant amount of damage to Skarmory regardless of being Victreebel. And now I can kind of just go for the farm down. They end up switching in Medicham, and this is pretty good. So they end up being a double fighter backline, and it wouldn't really mattered what we used, I suppose. But this is also really nice because we can just go for the farm down into Medicham, and pretty much as long as we just beat the Medicham, it's game over. There's no way the Skarmory could remove Bastiodon, especially with the Icy Wind. That's another game. Alright, another Skarmory. This is the final battle of the video. And as you can see, they switch in Witch Cache. I bring in Victreebel. I can tank the move. And yeah, that's pretty much game. They're just going to top left. A lot of top lefts running this line. So yeah, hope you enjoyed these battles. Have you ever tried running this team? I'm sure you faced it a few times in your career in Great League though. Consider subscribing, liking, commenting. It does help my content out a lot on YouTube. And with that being said, the Sass Squad is getting stronger each and every day. You have a good morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you're tuning in. I'll catch you in the next one. If you want to check out more Go Battle League content from me, consider watching this video right here, this video right here,